Here we go, Cancer Ascendant, Cancer Rising. I am glad that you are here. I really hope that you are glad to be here with me. I am happy to be looking at your energy, looking at your energetic frequency grid for October. We're going to talk about all the big changes that are going to happen this month. And they're setting up a November. Keep focused on is that this is the home stretch. This is the time where all of what we've learned in 2020 in terms of what we need for self, what we need to be emotionally stable, what we need to be emotionally satisfied, what we need that gives us comfort. Understanding that it's okay in the next 8 weeks, 8, 10, 12 weeks, make sure we're making time for ourselves. Penciling me time in is imperative. As we move through this week, as we move through October, we then go into November. And this beginning of October and the major shift that's going to happen, this begins with the end of September. And this is when the major shift is felt because Saturn stands still. So all you need to know is that Saturn is the person that makes the rules. It's the authority figure. It's the mom, it's the dad, it's the boss. It's whoever you look up to for advice, the government, it's law enforcement, it's whoever is in charge. It's whoever lays out the rules, whoever says, this is the way it's got to be. I like to call Saturn Simon. You know, remember that game when you were a kid, Simon Says? That's who Saturn is because Saturn says these are the steps you need to take. And isn't that the game of Simon Says? The steps you need to take. You can take 3 steps forward, but it's the same thing. The steps you have to take. And Capricorn is the sign in which Saturn rules. And it's all about the climbing. It's the goat. And as a human being, it's us going up that ladder because at the top of that ladder is your goal, is your ambition. Okay, why am I crazy about that? Why will I not let that go? Why, no matter what I do, no matter if I go all the way over there and then off the deep end over there, somehow I always end up back here at the same point wanting that same thing. It might be a variety of it. It may be a different shade of it. Capricorn, right? It's that goat energy. We're climbing up the rungs of the ladder. And as we do that, there are rules. Each rung represents a rule, a path that we must take, a thing we must do, a responsibility. And that is why it bears down so strong on us. So if you're a Cancer ascendant, at the opposite of you here, the blue water Cancer, because Cancer is an water energy, and water, cardinal water, by the way. Cardinal means we're going to take action. We're going to do something. We're going to initiate. The opposite is the Capricorn energy. And so we've got Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter all over here in your 7th house. Because as a Cancer ascendant, you have your energy right there, 1st house ascendant. This is who you are. This is who you appear to be to the world. You appear to be a person who tend to be very emotional, who is almost empathic, feelings, home, comfort, family, mom energy, very nurturing. Mom energy is a big one for Cancer. Being a mom, something about you is comforting because that's what moms do. What do moms do when they have their babies? They feed them, they clothe them, they bathe them, they take care of them, they nurture them. And this is who you appear to be. If you are new here, welcome. My name is G. This is All Astrology, where we talk about your frequencies. And if there is anything I'm talking about today that escapes you and you need clarity on, don't be shy. Introduce yourself to me in the comment section below. I love reading the comments after I post a video. I look forward to nothing more than connecting in with you, than meeting you down below in the comment section. Hit me up, pound, we are one. I will know you listened to this video. This is G. This is All Astrology. Here we take a look at who you are energetically. Here you are understood. You are accepted. Here we are family. Cancer, Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. This is all in the month of October. Saturn stood still because it was moving backwards. So at this time, it stands still so it can change direction and it can move forward. But anytime a planet stands still, we feel its power. And it's interesting when we look about, especially if you live in the United States and the government and the political powers that be, because Capricorn energy is government, is big business, is my job, is boss energy, the CEO, the ones in charge. That's Capricorn energy. Saturn being the rule maker. Saturn in Capricorn, the rule maker with business, the rule maker with government. Think about that in a large scale. On a small scale, coming into your life, this is in your 7th house. Your partnerships, committed one-on-one partnerships. This can also be business partnerships because you've got Capricorn in the 7th house. Capricorn is very business orientated, very goal orientated, but it's professional goals. So many times we're going to meet up with others who have the same professional goals as we do. You know, you may find your spouse. That may how you end up being married with somebody who you met at the job, someone who you had common work ethics, common financial, common professional goals. If you have Capricorn in your 7th house, it's the same as having Saturn there. And so wherever Saturn is in someone's chart, whatever house it sits in, it slows things down. So you may have children with somebody. There may be a partner in there, but marriage may not have ever happened. And the reason being, not there's anything wrong with you or that other person, but because wherever Saturn sits, wherever Capricorn sits, it makes us do the work. Capricorn and Saturn represent time, long periods of time, marathon time, journey, quests. It's going to be an ambition that we have to work very hard at. We have to be diligent. We can't take any shortcuts. Capricorn energy says this is your responsibility, doing the responsibility, doing the right thing, doing it the right way. There are very particular steps. There are very certain rungs on the ladder that you have to take to get to that goal, to rise up to that ambition. Cancer is on the ascendant. Capricorn is at the opposite side of it. They're along the same line of energy. So understanding both sides of it will do you a whole lot of good. You will learn so much more about you because you are the entire polarity. You are 360 degrees. So this is where you are, and 180 degrees away is you as well. But a person's chart, your life, is 360 degrees. We are 360 degrees. We are 360 degrees. We are not 10 or 50 or 100. We're 360, baby. All of us, right? That is everything. That is who we are completely. And then we go beyond that. 360 degrees on the physical layer, on the physical realm, right? Then there's the soul layer. Yeah, there's a whole slew of stuff, but we won't get into that. We don't have time for all that right now. Knowing the Cancer and the Capricorn qualities, traits, and characteristics, and understanding the more you know about the holistic part of who you really are, the whole degrees of your being, you will become so wise. And as the great ancients taught us, know thyself. Once we know thyself, is that possible to truly know oneself all the way? Doesn't matter. It's the quest that matters. It's never the end game. It's never the end goal. It ends up always being about the journey, the steps that it took, the experience to get to where we were going. Having Capricorn in the 7th house, having Saturn in the 7th house delays things. So for many folks, I know a lot of Cancer ascendants, and they have people in their lives that they at one time were going to get married to, felt a certain level of commitment to, but then separated, and they're, it's this on and off again relationship type thing. But it's because you've got Capricorn there, and Capricorn, it's a long journey. It's not quick. It's not fast. It's not easy. It's all about very heavy and responsible, right? I know that doesn't sound all fun, but Saturn is cold. Saturn can be distant. Saturn is rigid. It is rules. Typically, yeah, that doesn't feel real good. But when we take all those steps, that's the beauty about Saturn and Capricorn energy. When we take all the steps, when we take care of our responsibilities, when we do all those things, there's usually a big reward at the end. There's usually a big reward. So just remember that about Saturn. Remember that about the Capricorn energy. You work hard, there will be a reward. You stay persistent, perseverance, diligence. Just focus on your goal and just keep at it and be ethical, right? Because if you try to cheat and you try to skip any of those rungs on the ladder, right? You try to go up 3, skip 2, go up to the 3rd. What happens is you get thrown back down to where you were. And sometimes you even go further down. So the thing is, even though it might be tempting to cheat or to take a shortcut, typically when Saturn is around, when we're talking about Capricorn and Saturn energy, there's never going to be a shortcut. It's not going to allow it. It is going to demand your time. Jupiter went direct, started changing its frequency started going direct. This happened also in September. So when Saturn stood still and Jupiter stood still, it was in the month of September. You may have noticed a little bit more optimism in your life. Again, this is all in your 7th house. This is all marriage and significant one-on-one relationships, business partnerships. So that changes the flavor of your 7th house. It changes the relationships. They start feeling more optimistic. They start feeling less stuck. And so when Jupiter stood still in September, there might have been a taste, a difference. There might have been a different essence of what you were experiencing, a bit more of optimism of the people that you were meeting, because that's that 7th house. Remember, significant one-on-one relationships, it is also people that you talk to, that you meet, that you just sit and we have this one-on-one, this back and forth, the rapport that we have together. This is you and me touching in one-on-one. That's 7th house stuff. So this is people who do consulting work too. So you may see things changing, whether you're someone who is looking for work, someone who is trying to figure out, okay, this ambition and this goal that I've had in terms of relationships, professional relationships, which is what you would be. How do you get a good, solid professional relationship that's going to last? Because that's what we want. Saturn, ruling the sign of Capricorn, is all about building a relationship that's going to last, that's going to, it's going to be able to handle the tests of time, What we've learned in life, in living, and especially in 2020, is life can throw all sorts of crazy things at us, things that we were just totally caught us all off guard. There's unlimited amount of options because of the free will factor. And that is the one thing I'm embracing more and more, is our free will factor. What happens? Jupiter stands still. Saturn stands still. Your 7th house. Things will change in your significant one-on-one relationships. At the beginning of October, there's a full moon. I have a video out for the full moon. I will attach it below this video. Make sure you watch it. It will give you a lot more information about the future, stuff I don't have time to go into here. The first full moon is in the sign of Aries. Now your Aryan energy, hold on. There we go. What this means is you're going to have a full moon in your 10th house. Your 10th house is your career, your profession. So for you, having Cancer on your ascendant, having Aryan energy up in your 10th house, Aries energy is the initiator. I like to start. So because it's in the 10th house, I like to start new jobs, start new career, start new goals, always creating these new goals. Always like, oh, that looks interesting. Let me try that. And so all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I've got this new goal. I've got this, and I've got this going on. How many ambitions, how many goals do you have that you haven't finished? So whether they're professional goals, just goals in general, gonna have a lot because you love starting. It's the essence of experiencing something new. And every time Aryan energy is experiencing something it's never experienced before, it somehow helps the Aryan part of us discover new degrees of our being, discover new things about who we are. It's a self-discovery. And so each time you dip your fingers in this, you dabble your toe into that, each time you get a little sample of something, it's somehow you pay attention to the way it makes you feel. You pay attention to how you react to it. You pay attention to a lot of different layers of different things that it tells you about you. The sign of Aries is the self-discovery just as much as it is of just blazing new territory and being the leader of new territory and wanting to be the leader of something, wanting to initiate, wanting to start. Aryan energy in the 10th can be difficult because what it tends to mean is I start a job and I like it for a while and I can be the boss in that place too. I have the boss qualities because I know how to lead, and I can lead in a very professional manner, and I know what it takes to be the leader. But Aryan energy has to be careful in the 10th house because what happens is there's no longevity. Okay, it's a sprinter, right? It's not a marathoner, it's a sprinter. So what happens is after a while, as soon as it loses the new feeling, as soon as it loses all that, because when it's not new anymore, it's no longer exciting. And when it loses the polish, when it loses the shine, hello, Zoe. Welcome to the reading for Cancer Ascendant, Cancer Rising. Say hello to everybody. Everyone, this is Zoe. And I was hoping the cats would show up today because they haven't been in the videos in a long time. And Taffy rarely comes up, typically only if there's a Virgo reading going on. Zoe loves to be up here because, oh, wow, a big kiss from Zoe. Zoe loves to be up here because she thinks it's her landing pad, her massage pad. Taffy does too, but Taffy is very sensitive, and I am being very loud. we have to make do with what we can with having Zoe here. It's cold out right now, so whenever the temperature starts to drop, this one thinks her place is in everybody's lap, anybody's. And I mean anybody. Like a stranger could walk in that door and she will be all over them. Like, just hold me. Whatever you do, just hold me. Hi. You know, we don't need to say hello. Just sit your butt down, put me in your lap. This is Zoe. She is a cat. She is a lap cat. You gonna let them see your beautiful eyes? She has beautiful green eyes. One day I will take videos of the girls because they're gorgeous, they're lovely, and also because, you know, I have been through a couple of rough past 2 years in my life, and without these two, I can just be totally straightforward and honest with you. Without these two in my life, I mean, don't get me wrong, the folks I live with, my housemates, have helped me considerably and are beautiful, beautiful, kind, loving. I'm very blessed. But these girls came with them. These aren't really my girls, but we've sort of adopted each other. They call me their auntie. You know, I have some very strong Virgo energy in my chart, and I have a thing with animals and they have a thing with me. And so we're just very, very close. They helped me get through a very rough time, a very, very rough time. And so the healing that I get and the comfort I get, the nurturing, Cancer, the nurturing I get from them, just from them being near me, just from me touching them and hearing them purr, and the give and take. That's the beauty about cats. They're really, in my eyes, they're little people. They have these wonderful little personalities. Like these two girls, they're so totally different, very different. But that's the beauty of it. It's not like sit, roll over, play dead. Not to take anything away from dogs. I love dogs. I love all animals. But I just never knew until I got to spend a whole lot of time volunteering for cats. That's really when I got the big eye opener. I wasn't aware. I didn't know as much about cats. You know, I had always been in a home where there were dogs and cats, or just dogs for a long time. I never really got to spend quality time with cats. And with cats, to really get to know them, you have to have quality time with them. It's kind of a Saturn thing. They, you know, the trust to be built up with them takes time. There's no instant, I love you. There's no instant, I'm with you. This one will, but she real clearly will just as quick jump off your lap and leave your ass, like without a hesitation. Taffy, on the other hand, the one that's not here, oh my gosh, it took 2 full years before she'd sit in my lap. I mean, 2 full years, maybe even 3. And now she's finally at the point where she trusts me to let me touch her belly. She'll literally lay on her back even for me at times and let me rub her stomach. That took a long time to build with her, a long time. This is all talking about Saturn. This is all talking about relationships. And Zoe came up at the perfect time because it's Saturn in your 7th house, and it's also Jupiter in your 7th house, Pluto in your 7th house. Jupiter and Saturn are going to leave your 7th house. Yay! Jupiter and Saturn will leave your 7th house soon. They're going to leave your 7th house by the end of December. End of December, they go into the next sign. And the next sign is Aquarian energy, the sign of Aquarius. So understanding where your Aquarian energy is in your chart will help you. Now, if you have a chart, like if you're looking at your own chart and it's a tropical Placidus and you know that your house systems are a little bit, you know, they're not split perfectly. It's not sign per house. There are some tropical Placidus people, when I look at their chart and their birth time, where their signs fit perfectly into their houses. And that's not typical at all. Not typical at all. So it is very common to see a tropical Placidus chart where one house can have multiple signs in it, or one house can have just one sign in it, or, you know, it's just, it's all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no wrong or right. There's no good, better, or best when it comes to that. It's just who you are. If you have a chart like that, you would want to watch the degrees because you may have some Aquarius energy in your 7th house. I would only know that by looking at your chart. Anything I'm talking about that you want to have a clarification on, if you don't have your rising sign, comment your birth digits below. I will take care of you. I don't think people think this is true, but it's for free. It's free $99. It is an accurate birth chart. I look it up. I get the digits in there. I take care of you. I let you know what your rising sign is. That is very important to know your accurate rising sign. And I'm going to put a big holler out there for people who were born in Indiana. If you know anyone that's a good astrologer, and when I mean good, I mean someone who has drawn up a chart by hand, not by the internet, by hand, which requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of training, a lot of books. It's going back way old school. I am fortunate that my astrology partner learned all of this and was able to teach me and taught me many other things. And at the same time, I can incorporate that knowledge that I learned with her and the knowledge of the internet, taking the best of both worlds, combining them together. And we have figured out a system where we have pinpointed Indiana births. A great percentage of those of Indiana births have the wrong rising sign. If you want to work with me, astrog.com. I'll include the link here or here, one of these sites, astrog.com. Yes, G is spelled out G-E-E. Jupiter and Saturn go into your 8th house, right? So that's something to look forward to, right? They're leaving your 7th house. So with Saturn out of your 7th house, your relationships may change again big time. And this time you may be able to meet somebody, or you may have a change if you have an existing relationship where things become smooth. Okay, where things become more compatible and less cold. Pluto is going to be in that house placement also for the next 4 years. 4 more years of Pluto in your 7th house. Remember what Pluto is, though? Pluto is change, deep transformational changes. Wherever Pluto transits, wherever it sits, it's going to make changes in that location. And it takes a long time. It's like a 15, 16, 17 year thing with Pluto. It doesn't move fast. Matter of fact, it's the slowest of the recognized planets. And so it's deep. It does its work on a very deep level, okay? Because it goes so low. Pluto's like that drill, okay? It's the rotor-rooter of the zodiac, one of my friends used to say, or still says. And it drills down really, really deep. And doing that deep kind of work, it's slow, it's methodical, it's thorough. Anything that was not working, anything that's not the highest and the best for you and for all involved, it's going to be taken out by the root and thrown out. That's what Pluto does. That's Pluto's job. Yes, it's in your 7th house of committed one-on-one relationships. Yes, this is marriage, and this is also business partnerships. So keep that in mind. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be like, what is wrong with me? There's just changes that are happening, and it's got nothing to do with what you want. These changes are going to happen. Now, you control, to the degree of those changes, you control how you respond to those changes. That is where you get your free will. It's in the way you respond. The full moon happens in your 10th house. So again, this is all about change happening. It's a full moon. What full moon represents is an elevated emotions. There's an elevated emotion about who you are in the workplace, elevated emotion about what your goals and your ambitions are, your professional goals, your professional ambitions. Don't take it too personal. Okay, this is very personal right now for all of us. It just so happens it's in your 10th house. I am asking you not to take it too personal. It's going to be hard not to, because Mars is in that house. Mars is going retrograde, so that amplifies things. And it's also conjunct Chiron. All you need to know is it's very personal, but don't take it so personal. Be smart. Know this. Take this information in advance. And by the way, this is on the 1st of October. I might not have said that. October 1st. October 1st, full moon energies, we can always feel them days before. We can feel them building, okay? So keep that in mind. Remember to be detached, step back, respond after you had a chance to think. Thinking is very important with this full moon. Because it's in the sign of Aries, Aries does not like to think. It's all about, it has a thought and it takes action on its thought. That's one of the downfalls of that Arian energy for all of us. Not just you, for all of us, is that it tends to just react. It doesn't think first. So we're trying to grow Mars up. And I'm saying Mars because Mars rules Arian energy, all right? Mars is this ruler. And so Mars is here all the way until January. We're trying to mature Mars. So Mars is retrograding right now, and then it'll go forward again, all in your 10th house. So it's all about your ambitions, your goals, your professional ambitions, your professional goals. It's all about becoming more mature. It's all about learning to be the thinker instead of reacting, automatically taking action. The instant that you have an idea or a thought, you're stepping back and you're thinking about it. And you're saying, okay, let me evaluate this. Let me cool down. And let me take a look. Maybe let me sleep on it. Maybe I need time to think about this. So it has to do with what our appearance is. So this is how you appear professionally, but we're growing up. Okay. Aries was so stuck on professionally, I have to appear this way. It was very stuck on that. Okay. It was very much about, think about this. It's all about my body, my physical appearance. And how many of you are stuck in, but if I'm doing this, I have to appear this way. And there's something about being stuck in the idea of this way, or the appearance of this has to be like this, where we exclude all these other options when we do that. It's like we close the door, we shut windows, we discount other opportunities when we are so focused on it being one certain way. And now, if we let Mars grow up, we let Mars step back and think, we can truly hone in on more beautiful Martian energy, which is Martian energy that has matured, that has learned that every battle is not a worthy battle. It is about pick and choosing the battles, because that's what Mars is, a fighter. Keep that in mind. Mars loves to have to fight for something, just loves to. There's something about it. It's invigorated. It feels strengthened. It empowers it to have to earn it, to have to work for it, to have to fight for it. This is what Martian energy is. So understanding that you like that in your 10th house of goals, hopes, and aspirations. So when there's no fight, when there's nothing to work for, where it almost feels like a fight, that also then takes this new feeling off of it, this, I don't need to be here anymore. My work is done because there's nothing else I'm working for. If somebody just gives in to you, it's like, it kind of loses the thrill for you in a sense. Having Aries energy in the 10th house, all you want to try to focus on, there is change still occurring. Expect changes to keep on occurring all the way until January, okay? And that you have to just be flexible. You have to be willing to learn, be willing to be the student, be willing to recognize that Mars, that Aries energy, your 10th house, your ambitions, your goals, your professional life, there's a lot of ego involved here. What's happening is the universe is trying to show us our ego tendencies. We all have this, okay? I'm not pointing a finger. I have it as well. I have this Aryan energy somewhere in my life. And so, I've been watching it. I've been seeing how there have been degrees of myself where my ego has been front and center and wouldn't step back. And I had to say, hey, wait a minute, and I don't do that all the time. There's many times I miss it. Many times it's an after happened thing. I'm right there with you. And so when that happens, we don't want to waste this opportunity. This is an opportunity of initiation. This is Mars in Aries. This is Mars's ability to grow. This is Mars' ability to stop being the soldier, to actually be able to get some more bars on his thing. I don't know anything about military, but to be able to go up in rank. And he needs to be educated. He needs to know he can start thinking for himself. But at the same time, he knows how to take orders. But he can get to the degree where he's smart enough, where he's educated enough, where he learns to be the diplomat. And I say the word diplomat because Mars in Aries, at the opposite of its energy, which is the goal for any energy, is to elevate up to its other side. And the other side of Aries energy, the other side is Libra energy. And Libra energy is the diplomat. Here's Mars. Libra's ruler at the opposite of Mars is Venus. Venus is the diplomat. Beautiful means of communication, right? And relationships, significant one-on-ones. Aries energy is just me, what I want, my goals, my hopes, my ambitions. But when Mars grows up, it goes over here. And it says, well, what about we? That's a mature Mars. We. A new moon. We have a new moon this month. It happens on the 16th of October. We have Pluto. I talked about Pluto, but I didn't explain that Pluto is going to be standing still this month on the 3rd of October. Right after the full moon, Pluto stands still. Pluto is power. Pluto is also fear. Pluto, being in Capricorn energy, is those who are in power, those who have power. And with Saturn standing still and Jupiter standing still, and then Pluto standing still, all of a sudden, if there have been abuses of power, we're going to see some changes. So you can see changes on the global level. You can see changes, the minutia. You can see it in your micro world. at home. You could see it in your job. If there have been abuses of power, you're going to see where all of a sudden there's going to be a day of reckoning coming around. Reckoning, that's all I keep hearing. Reckoning, reckoning, reckoning. And I hear a lot of other people talking about the United States president and a day of reckoning for that individual. But, you know, we'll see what happens, because if there's anything I have been learning through all of this that we've been experiencing together in 2020, is that there are so many layers to all this stuff that's going on. It's freaky. It's absolutely freaky. And there's a lot of behind the scenes communications happening, because we have Mercury moving into Scorpio energy, which is where Mercury is right now at like 2 degrees of Scorpio. The day I'm recording this, I'm in the end of September recording this. Mercury's at 2 degrees of Scorpio. And so Scorpio is below the surface. Okay. It's communications that you can't see. And so Mercury being there, it makes Mercury the ultimate investigator. I mean, Mercury becomes the great detective here. I'm hoping that we have things established where we can see justice and balance being restored. I pray that this is what this brings about. I know it's not going to be a quick process, but I also know that this is a shimmering of that. There is a glimmer of hope for that. And I pray that this is what happens for wherever you are in the world, that if there's any injustices, any unfairness, you know, whether there's prejudices, whether there's racism, whether there's sexism, genderism, whatever it may be, that this may all be, that there may be a beginning of the unraveling of all those isms, and that we can start to dissolve them and understand that we are all one. New moon for you, because the new moon is happening in Libra energy. And this is important because I just got done talking about how your Mars energy in your 10th house needs to go and explore the other side of its Libra energy to grow up. What that means is that Mars energy, the opposite, if this is in your 10th, right? If you got Aries up here, and remember, Aries and Mars are interchangeable because Mars rules Aries. So we've got Mars and Aries up here. And at the opposite of Mars and Aries is the Libra energy. So if this is your 10th house, this is your 4th house, home. Number 4 is home. Number 10 is goals, professions, career. Okay, that's number 10. So number 4 is home. Professional work life, I go to the job, home, right? They're at opposites, right? Work, home, opposites. Mars, Venus, opposites. See? You have a new moon, which is a time for setting new intentions and a new possibility. And this is a new possibility of relationships in the home. This is Venus ruling this placement. And I'm putting this out there for those who have their charts in their hand. And if you want your chart in your hand, just leave your birth digits below. I'll take care of you. If you don't want to leave your birth digits below, go to the website, www.astrog.com. It's really simple, AstroG. That's Astro, G-E-E, astrog.com. And you can give me your birth digits there if that makes you feel better. At the same time, this is a new moon at 23 degrees and 53 minutes. So for those who have their chart, look that up and see where that's located for you. But typically this will be in your 4th house. So this is all about relationships at home. So if you're somebody, this is important, right? Because at the beginning of the video, we talked about relationships, marriages, rough road, right? New moon time is a time to pray, a time to wish, a time to set intentions, a time to speak to the universe, a time to pray to whatever your deity is and to say, are you listening? Can you hear me? This is my prayer. And the universe hears you. And we're using the knowledge of the universe. We're using the knowledge of the universe. This is a Venus-ruled new moon, so it's about love and committed one-on-one relationships. This is what it's about. So I love this for you. This can also be business partnerships, but because it's located in your home, this has very much to do with a marriage, with a significant partner in your home. Some people live with people and they never get married, and that's okay. Right? Some people live with people. Some people are really close to people and they don't live together, but they're in committed one-on-one relationships. But they know they love each other, but they know they can't live together. Like I know people, not like personally, but I have friends who have really good friends who literally moved out and they have, they're staying like on the same street and they're in a committed one-on-one relationship. So they know that they can live together or they know that they can be together. They just can't live together. And they know that they can't live without each other. So they literally have a relationship where they're both in a different location and it works for them. And that's life. That is how it works, people. Nobody will tell you this. Hollywood doesn't tell us this, right? We never see movies or hear great stories about that. No, we always see, okay, you got to live in the same house. You got to sleep in the same bed, in the same room. But that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. New moon in your 4th house. This is a time where I love for you to set your intentions if you need help with relationships, especially relationships in the home, marriage, partnerships, whatever that may be for you. There's a lot that can be had here. There's a lot of potential for growth, a lot of opportunity to move forward in a direction that I think is important to you. So if you're in a relationship where you don't have the intention of getting divorced or you're not separated, but maybe things are rocky, okay, well, this is a great time to say, you know what? This is what I want going forward. This is what I need going forward. I need this for me. I want my partner. I love my partner, but I do need this for myself. And that's where Libra and the whole balance thing, that's a big deal. It's understanding what I need, understanding what the partner needs, and learning how to compromise, right? The word compromise is Libra, okay? It's fair, it's balanced, it's compromise. Don't forget about yourself in the home. And wherever we have Libra in our chart, we have a tendency to forget about ourselves. We have a tendency to take care of the other person first because it's all about, but I love you, therefore I'm going to take care of you. And I have a hard time, I don't want to feel like I have to choose, right? It's this very indecisive at times energy. Understand, this is why Libra in the 4th house. Going into the month of November, there's optimistic energy, okay? Because at the end of October, there's a full moon. This full moon is an ecliptic full moon, okay? It's ecliptic full moon because Uranus is present, but it's on an eclipse point. And this eclipse doesn't happen until a year from now. So if you're still hanging with me, if you're still here at this part of the video, you're smart. Because I always save the golden nuggets for last. Like these are my diamonds too. And what you're going to find out is that Uranus at this full moon, Uranus is going to be a factor. It's not just Uranus, but it's an eclipse point. Now, understand what this is. This is money. This is your values because it's in Taurus energy. It's a full moon at 8 degrees and 38 minutes in the sign of Taurus. Now, your Taurus energy, when I look this up for you, you have your Taurus energy in your 11th house. Your 11th house represents the internet. It represents friends. It's your groups. Okay, it's your group energy, humanitarian energy. It's when you are with people where you have like the same humanitarian goals and ambitions, which are going to be very down to earth, very resource orientated, friends in yourself, about being efficient with the earth. The minimalist thing, you know, it's all about the land. It's all about food. It's all about finding ways to be more efficient. All food things. Taurus rules the 5 senses. So it's what I can taste, smell, touch, see. It's all about that. It's all about my money, and it's all about the people I value because it's our natural resources in addition to natural resources and our money in the bank, our tangible resources. So our values, valuing friends, you would value friends very much, but having Uranus there means there's a surprise, okay? Having Uranus in the 11th house. Now remember, if it's a surprise, surprises can be good or surprises can be not so good. See if you have something around, see if you have anything around 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees of Taurus energy. If you do, tell me what planet it is. Tell me what it is and comment it below, and I will be sure to tell you what this is going to mean for you. Because this is a big deal because this is an eclipse point. And it's an eclipse that's going to happen in about a year from now. And in that time, if you have a point here, it means it's going to happen to you before the eclipse happens. Anytime we have a matching degree, we usually feel the impact of the eclipse from 6 months to almost a year in advance. You can put your digits in, put your birth digits in. That way I can see all of your chart because that's really the best way for me to give you the best information. But in pertaining to this question, to this particular full moon, do yourself a favor, get your data to me. It has to do with income, it has to do with resources, with your moolah, with your value, with the people you value, the people that you love. It's going to be with friendships. But at the time, what's also going to happen is we're going to have, in January, Mars is going to get into the Taurus energy. So if Mars gets into the Taurus energy, Mars is then in January going to touch right on top of Uranus. And so these points, when this happens, they're like foreshadow points to what's coming for the eclipse. And so they will be a very good indicator for you to know what exactly the taste is, what it's going to be about. Because we have free will and because everybody's chart is so individualistic, I can't really share more with you than that unless I were to see your chart. Keep in mind that no matter what's happening, we can make it through. We are almost done with 2020, all right? And I'm going to be real with you. 2020 is a tough year. We have yet to experience our second wave of the pandemic. And when the month of November comes around, here's the other nugget. Actually, at the butt end of October, we are going to start feeling the North Node squaring up with Neptune, okay? And so when that happens, I will not be surprised. I'll word it like that. I will not be surprised if we are hearing about a rise in the pandemic. I will not be surprised at all to hear about more cases where there are people who are having more difficulties, whether it's through asthma or breathing, because Gemini, the North Node in Gemini, is all about our ability to talk, our ability to express, but it's air. It's an air sign. And the pandemic, Neptune, squaring that will be a factor. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure you're staying diligent with your best health practices, keeping your body and your mind and your spirit in sync. Take care of you. Make sure you're getting your sunlight, your fresh air, you're eating healthy. We're not through the pandemic yet. It's not over. We still have a lot of work to do. We still need to make sure we're keeping up on our hygiene, washing hands. And if we keep our mind right, we can do anything.